So today we are going to talk about sanding, and at the end of this video I'm going to do another video. So anyways, I've already recorded this video once, but neglected to check that I had any battery, and it only recorded a couple of minutes. So wherever it was in my how to remove oxidation series that I should have put in the sanding video, this is going to be called, say for instance, 4.1. And right after this, I'm going to do a 4.2. And the 4.2 is just going to be me doing what I'm about to talk about here. So I'm envisioning that if you're already watching, if you're here watching my channel, let me restart that, right? Then you've probably looked around, and maybe the stuff still doesn't make sense to you, or you're just not getting it, or maybe you're seeing that it just doesn't make a lot of sense to you what some of these people are saying, right? Because there's so many differences. There's some people that'll say, oh, grab the 3M Advanced and, put that on it and just, whoa, boy, look at how pretty that is. And then we coat it with some wax, and I charge this guy $1,000 to do that at the marina. Okay, let's talk about why that's not the right way to do it. But if you're getting $1,000 to do boats like that, and you got a list so long and all of this, I don't know, man. Maybe you should have learned a little bit more about the industry you're in before you did that. So who are you? Why are you here? And why should you listen to me? Okay? So I understand how these are made because I made them. Okay, I've worked for companies, not Century, I've not worked for Century, right? But I've made parts, I talked about this in a different video. Teresa and I have worked at a place. We made parts for Bennington, that's one of your top of the line pontoon boats. We've made parts for Habalo, which some people might read as Robalo. And Chaparral, right? And other things, Burger King, you freaking name it. There's lots of applications for this stuff that we call fiberglass, right? So what are we doing, right? What is going on here, right? Well, a lot of videos are pretty correct when they explain what oxidation is. It is exactly what it sounds like, right? So when metal is exposed to water and air, we know it rusts. That's called iron oxide, right? Oxidation. This is the same type of thing. Over a period of years, whether if it's out of the sun, it goes a little slower, but if it's in the sun, it goes a little deeper and whatnot and this and that. But what the oxidation is just a buildup on the outside or on the very first layers of your gel coat. And just as in welding, I'm an AWS trained welder. I have had 306 stainless that I could put a shine on quicker than I could put a shine on this. But what they teach you in welding, especially when you're welding on aluminum, is that the oxidation is literally harder. It's rated harder than a diamond. In other words, its hardness rating is higher than one of the things that's the hardest things known to man, right? So this oxidation, even though it's minuscule, microscopic, right? It's been building up for, in this boat's case, 27 years of diamond hard layer, right? So all you're watching people do when they pull out this and that substance and quick put it on a buffer, or maybe they'll hit it with 3,000 gram, on a real bad boat, I'll hit it with 3,000 grit first. That's an exact quote from a video I watched last night. So all they're doing, their guy, is they are polishing the oxidation. You understand? They are not polishing the actual gel coat. You can polish oxidation. It's hard. You can polish anything that's hard, right? Okay, so yes, what I'm trying to do here is show you the right way to do it and also explain the exact techniques that are required to do so, right? Now, Teresa has hand sanded this. I said that wrong on a different video. She has not touched this part of the boat with a random morbidine or dual action sander. She has hand sanded this down to 600. And she started probably a little lower than that. I'd have to ask her, but on what 400 she started, she's over behind over there doing some yard work, put up 4 fingers. So she started at 400. And what she did when she did that is she kept going and kept going and kept going through that oxidation. And again, I'm going to show you this in just a minute, okay? But when you're doing that, you're wet sanding. You're using a lot of water. You're using a sprayer. You got a hose out here. I use a sprayer, right? Okay, you get it nice and wet, and then you run a special sandpaper called wet dry sandpaper. Ignore the dry part. You use it wet. It always has to be wet, right? So while you're using it wet, and I'm looking right here, you can see it's just a little bit redder on my hand than not. You sand down until this water, as you're sanding it, will change colors. It'll be like a milky white color when you first start. And as you're sanding and sanding, you'll continue to see more and more of that milky white color until it changes to, so if you're on a blue boat, you'd start seeing it turn just a little light blue. Or on this case, it might look a little brown. It's not the color you see, it's just that it's no longer that milky white. Some other color is coming into it, right? That's the point. So as soon as you see that, stop. You are at your gel coat. Now, gel coat's way thicker than paint, but it's still pretty thin. You don't want to just keep hammering it. If you do, you're going to go through it, and then your only option is to re-gel it, right? Or to have somebody paint it. You can get, some fairing going on. We're not talking about that in this video. I'm sure we'll have some videos where we do some of those fairing type repairs. But on this video, I'm trying to tell you, as soon as and this is why you do it by hand and not with a random orbiting or dual action sander, is you got to be able to tell as you're sanding on this, hey, I'm starting to see some color. Bam, stop with a 400. Move on to the next areas. Do that, and do that until what? Yup, until you see it not being that cloudy white color again. And all of a sudden another color comes in, stop, move on to this side, right? And then do another area and another area. And eventually, after about a week, you're going to get the side of your boat done. I don't know, maybe you're one of those people that can hang in there for 8 hours a day of doing that, then by all means. But this is the time that it takes to get from 400 to 600. It's super smooth. You can see my hand isn't jerking or anything. But still, it's been done from 400 to 600. What I'm going to do and try to show you today isn't how to hand sand something. We might do something on that, and if if anybody out there ever needs to get a hold of me with any questions about how to do any of this stuff, please, Ricksrealrestorations@gmail.com. Just email me. Email your information. I'll give you a call. Whatever, right? I'm trying to help people here because I hate seeing people being shown how to do stuff wrong on YouTube, right? It's a great place to learn. It's also a great place to learn how to do stuff wrong. Let me give you an example of that before we get into exact sanding techniques. You've all seen people, whether you're driving by it in your car or whatnot, that go to a driving range for golfing. I used to train my guys. I used to be also in sales and banking and mortgages for 25 years. I used to train my guys that anytime you see somebody doing that, the only thing they're really doing is practicing how to become worse. They're practicing bad habits until they get those bad habits right down perfect, right? So my point in all of that is, if you're going to do this, if you're going to try to practice on something, we might have a video on how to do that. But let's face it, guys, if you just take your time, if you're not trying to be, 2023, let's hop her back to the 1970s when this boat was, and people really prided themselves on how well they could do a job, right? And that's why this boat has lasted this freaking long. It's why it's in this good a condition. It's why it deserves to be fixed back up and restored, right? Is because they were craftsmen back in the day that really took a lot of pride in what they did for a living. Whether they were getting screwed by the man, sure, weren't we all? But it wasn't that. It wasn't, you're not paying me enough to do a good job. I'm going to do the best job I can. That's how people used to look at it. I'm an old fart. You can bypass that. But let's do it the right way. You start your hand sand 400 to 600, right? The next thing that I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take the same 600 that Teresa had just left off with, but now I am going to use a dual action sander. Whoops, sorry guys. I use a Black & Decker. Right now it's on, I think it's 11% off or something on Amazon. I haven't been on YouTube, I guess, long enough to post a link. So in one of my videos in the description, I did leave the exact word-for-word description of this product. It's currently $30, right? And how does this work? Well, okay. I left this on so I could show you. You got to be really careful when you're doing this, because you don't want to keep replacing this cushion pad. Now with that pack I told you about, it actually comes with two of them, but they're kind of expensive. And why? So you see how I'm doing it? You just peel this part, but don't just peel. You got to then put your finger here to hold that down, and then just take that off. Okay, I hope that, right, that was some thousand I was using before, earlier part of the boat. Then this pad attaches to the actual base in the exact same way, and I'm not going to take that off, because the more you do this, the weaker this thing gets, and then you end up having to replace it. So I try to keep that to a minimum. Like I said on other videos, I don't have money, so here's that. So what we do is, when I'm looking at this, you know, a lot of guys, they like to start up and down, and then go sideways. Well, in this case, you're looking at a boat that's got a rib right here, and I'm sure you can see that. It goes flat, and then up, and over, and down, and then flat again, right? So there's a rib right here. That's pretty common on a lot of boats. You're going to run into that, right? So, so when you do, what you're going to want to do is concentrate now on, and this kind of disappears as you get towards the front of the boat. Also common, but that way it kind of just fades out, and at the bow, you know, area, you won't have this, right? But, so, you know, you're open to some other techniques, right? But with this, the entire time I'm using this, and that'll be in again in the next video, I'll be going horizontally. Now, even though this is random orbiting or dual action, right, it actually is going to set this in a way that when I come back to try to polish it, it's going to end up polishing a little bit quicker because of that. So these are things that experience will tell you, and I'm trying to tell you because you don't probably have a lot of experience. Now, when you get up to a ridge like this, if you were to float over it like this, right? I don't have any sandpaper on it right now, but anyways, let me just do this with 1,000 a second. I don't want to get anything all in my Velcro. All right, so if you were going to go up and down here, right? Oh, that's working out perfect. Do you see where the white line is? Okay, what's going to happen is you're going to miss this area, right? You're not going to get this hardly at all, right? You're going to probably miss the very top edge of this, right? And then land up in here with the even pressure again, right? But what you're going to do is strip your gel coat right off of that edge, right? And it's going to go quick, folks, okay? I mean, boom, right? And you'll go, holy crap. So what you want to do, and this is really on any kind of outside corner, this I would consider, you know, to be an outside corner, even though it's not a corner, is you want to come in here like this, and like this, and like this, then move. Now, again, I talked about, this is your travel angle, is horizontal at this point. But when I get up here, I'm going to start tilting a little, and, you know, just kind of lightly riding that, and then tilt it the other way when I get to this side, and just kind of lightly rub that, come back, maybe a little bit more. And you can see without ever turning this on, now I've got a nice even whiteness there, a nice even whiteness there, and you just ginger this top part, right? So there you have that, right? Don't ever, ever, ever do this, because you are going to hate yourself afterwards, right? I don't know where this camera is exactly pointing, so you can see how much darker the white is there than there or there. Don't ever do that. So, and pay attention to your work angle. When you get up to here, I would try maybe going on the back. And up here, I would try going on the top. See what I mean? Here's the bottom. I would do it like that. And up here, like this. And then once, quick one, like down there. And that's how you'll see me doing it in the next video, right? Now, we talked about these scratches in a different video. And when I get up to that part, I'll probably do just a really quick short thing on what I'm going to do here. But as you see, I can go like this, and you can see that there's powder building up on the outside edge here. So that's deeper than this. See that? I hope you can, right? If I go like this, there's going to be powder building up there, where this one there's not. So this one's way deeper than this one. So I expect I'll be able to get this one out or pretty close to it. But by the time you put a mirror shine on this, you're never going to see this, and this is never going to be a problem for the boat. I am not going to fairing that out and spend a whole bunch of time doing that and hope I get some kind of color correctly. I'm not going to do it. This is an older boat. I'm just trying to make her look pretty and keep her nice, and by the time I put all the waxes and all the protection on here, that's never going to be an issue. Never, right? So there you have that. So what am I going to do today? I am going to go 600, 800 different sandpapers lightly, right? And then, again, bottom here, top here, and work this whole boat all the way up to where I've got it polished already. So by the end of today, and I'm not going to record that, YouTube, but I will do enough that you can see, but I'm going to do the 600, 800, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, right? And then tomorrow, my McGuire's wax gets here, so by Wednesday, I should have a video where we have the entire boat polished up like a brand new penny, and then we put that wax on there, and oh my God, right? So the last few days have been in the 90s with like 80% humidity up here in northern Michigan. It's been horrible. We have wildfires going. They're telling you not to let chains drag on the ground or throw cigarettes out the window and stuff, because like it's just dry, hot, right? Next few days going to be real nice, in the 70s, low 80s, nice little breeze. So we're going to get this boat done, and again, if you have any questions, if I didn't explain things correctly, if you just still aren't getting it, don't go out there and ruin your boat just trying, stuff. If you have a question, get a hold of me. I'll try to explain it better. Really, this is something that, yes, you learn from doing it, but you ought to know what you're doing first. And as soon as you ever see a color other than this white color coming in, that's when you got to bail. You got to stop, right? With whatever grit you're on, and start moving up, and, really, that's when you're polishing your boat, not polishing oxidation. I hope I taught you something today, guys. You have yourself a good one. Get started. 600 grit. Just going to do this small area here. I'm going to leave the mic on. If it's too obnoxious, I'll cut all of the sound after this. But I will leave it on just in case I wanted to bring something up while I'm doing it. Oh yeah, while we're doing this, the pattern is up halfway and back halfway across this. Now I'm still seeing that cloudy white color. I hope that's coming through for you. So we are still working with oxidation. And we want to get all the way through that. So Teresa definitely stopped in time. She's very good at this stuff. And now I'm starting to dry out. You should always turn that off while it's on the boats. That was stupid. And I should have a hose out here, but like I said, it's so dry, I'm actually watering my lawn and my garden and everything. Okay, now you can see how that's red coming off of here, guys. I hope. Right here.